I don't like to go on just what everyone else is doing. I like to, actually just sit down and have a chance to actually talk for a few.
Yeah, exactly.
Before making these decisions anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I wanted to make it a point to get around and talk to everybody. Obviously it's kind of a unique situation being that Kale and I were in an alliance together and whatnot, and it's hard. I don't want to campaign against her, but yet I still want to stay in the game, obviously,
of course.
So.
And I can tell you from my point of view, I can't speak for anyone else, but, I completely understand that and understand what goes into it. So anything that you are to say about the situation wouldn't be held against either of you anyway. It's just completely understandable, and I would love to hear where you're coming from and
absolutely.
Where you're planning on going. Assuming that you are to stay around for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, as far as the conversation is going to be, there's no malicious intent in the conversation.
Of course,
whatever.
I know that.
As you know, I basically risked my security in doing what I did, and that being because I have values as a person, and those values being loyalty, honesty, being true to my character. And in the veto competition, I hope that my actions during that competition could speak louder than what any words that I could come up with could say in its place. I'm not certain that everybody knows the whole scenario or the situation in the veto competition, why I did what I did. So I guess I have a question for you, as if you do know what happened.
I was sitting pretty close by, so I was able to hear the majority of the dialogue between the two of you, and at least in my estimation, I think I have a pretty good sense of what's going on. But if you want to give a quick, brief overview, absolutely.
So it kind of requires a little bit of a backstory.
Sure.
With Kale and myself, and as it's now known that I was previously in an alliance of 4 people, and
just to clarify, just because I've been trying to stay out of other people's business for the most part or whatever, but it was you, Zach, Nick, and Kale, or
correct?
Okay, and Jen was just a skirt or peripheral, or in your eyes, not even a partner.
Yeah, there was nothing ever even. She was
a friend to Kale was the role she was simply playing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So with that said, the week last week when Dick and Danielle were up on the block, it was rumored to Kale and myself, actually, from another person in our alliance, that Dick was after us. And so that was the whole reason for the campaigning, which Kale and I obviously felt threatened, and we thought, well, that's certainly a scenario in which case if Dick won HOH next week, we'd be an immediate threat. Ironically enough, look what happened.
What was the likelihood, right?
So that was, both her and myself had the idea of, we should definitely vote Dick out. And so then I think she just took a larger role in actually going around and asking people, hey, what do you think about this? Mm-hmm. Unfortunately for her, she got caught up and called out on it, and Dick found out about it. So when it came down to time for the actual votes, my alliance had told me, they're not going to go through. When Joe had obviously been put in the place of Danielle, that they weren't going to go through, that everybody was just going to switch their votes, that the alliance had set up basically an alibi for myself to kind of throw Dick off.
Sure.
To say, that I really wasn't on his tracks, basically, for the sake of my alliance and for myself, obviously.
Absolutely.
So Kale had come up to me then, and I went up to Kale and let her know that the votes had changed. She goes, oh, what should I do with my vote? I said, well, regardless of what you do with it, people already know that you're campaigning against it. You might as well keep it a vote, against them, or else he's just going to call your bluff anyway.
Right.
You're kind of in an unfortunate situation. There's nothing you can do about it. So with that happening, and then Dick winning HOH, and then him having talks with everybody, he kind of called out to me that I had thrown Kale under the bus. And I certainly don't want that to be rumored around as something I would ever do, or anything of that nature. So with keeping that in mind, I also had a conversation with Kale to kind of ask her about that. I'm like, did you never, in any situation ever, felt betrayed or anything? No, 100% loyal. Never felt, betrayed. It was just a misunderstanding at the time, going into it, that with the voting scenario or whatever. And then I told her, I said with all...
Can I interrupt for just 1 second?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, with the fact that it wasn't really discussed amongst the 4 of you, Jen was operating entirely independently in her decision-making for that week. You know,
Yeah.
she was the one who opted to go with Joe. She was the one who felt strongly about Dick and Danielle in the first place. Or was that still sort of like a group
Oh
consensus?
no, that was
her.
definitely a more of a personal vendetta against one of them.
Than it was
And-
what you would have strategically
Yeah.
been doing collectively.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And so then, you know, after the nomination ceremony, I went up to Jen and Kale and said, you know, listen, it sucks. I feel horrible about the situation you guys are in. That you know, Kale, that you got called out on it, whatever. I said, you know, I would put myself in your shoes any day. I'd take you off the block and put myself up on the block. In all fairness. And so then what had eventually happened, let's see, I lost my train of thought where I was going with this.
Oh, no problem. Hit the veto day, right?
Yeah, this was at the
Which
prior
you know,
to the veto competition. Well, then she had, you know, obviously felt the need to, because I think she just felt stuck, felt the need to kind of spill
beans a
out
little
the
bit.
alliance, you know, so that kind of threw a big mixture into the pot. But at the same time, I
So
never.
she was the first one who really was forthcoming with the information about
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah, but you know, the same token, when she kind of spilled the beans on what was involved in that we were in